that I have to be careful where I put my hands, like my ring. I make sure I not put my ring on there. It'll pick it up. It'll pick up keys in the pocket and everything.
Does my face look decent?
I can't actually see you from. I can, yes, I can see you there, but just your mouth. You see what I mean? So if there's a way, let's see. If you try to prop it up on here,
Maybe if it could be made bigger.
let's see. Let me try this out. See this only from
Maybe,
this.
maybe it could be widened.
Let's see, from this angle, it would have to be pointed like this in order to get any kind of recording.
It's actually recording right now.
Oh, okay. But I'm saying that in order to actually see you, it'd have to be at an angle like this. So whatever you'd need to do would have to create a almost 45-degree angle. Could be something like this. Okay, there we go. Hey,
There we go.
yeah, yeah. Let's move it back just a little bit. There you go. Okay, yeah. Now you're in. Now you're in shot.
Okay.
So when we're talking, typically when you're having a conversation, like like we have on the phone or whatnot, you'll hear me say, "Oh yeah, it's like active listening." I can't do that on here because I have to just nod. So you'll see me nodding an awful lot, and I'll also be holding. Let's see. I'll also be holding this close to you when you're speaking, and I'll be turning it toward me when I'm speaking because it makes it easier to
Okay.
get the to get everything in. So I'm going to go ahead and start. And actually, I kind of wonder if we have to meet again because there's a lot to go over. I think. And let's see. Let's see my phone. See, I want to make sure that it doesn't do what it just did right there, which is make noise that'll interfere with the interview. So, okay. First off, again, thanks for meeting with me. I greatly appreciate it. I talked to you already about where you grew up. You told me you grew up here in Chicago. And you talked a little bit about what your parents were like. And I'd like to kind of get a better idea about that. You mentioned, for example, that your father was a Republican. Did you get a good sense of the depth of his political views at all?
Not particularly. Actually, I saw very little of my father, but I know that he loved me very much because when he died, I was very grief stricken, and one doesn't mourn the death of someone they didn't really love. Um, that was October 17th, 1969, when I was 8 years old. Um, the child is the secret essence of the sire. I know my father, even though I saw very little of him. Um, we mentioned that nanotechnology is the industry for Chicago, according to my mentor, Harold Washington's protege, Bill Doc Walls. And something very tiny and very small as a man's seed has profound potential.
Right, absolutely. As a matter of fact, it's funny you mentioned that. I was listening to an interview with Bill Doc Walls over the week, and yeah, he talks an awful lot about nanotechnology and making Chicago the hub for that type of science, which would be great because I'm sure you may have seen the piece that came out also in the Tribune. I think it was yesterday or the day before about how many people are fleeing the city and fleeing the state. It would be great to have something important to kind of bring people back in. So it's interesting that you mentioned that. And your mother's politics. Tell me a little bit more about your mother's politics.
Well, my mother was born a British subject in St. Vincent, West Indies, and came to America in 1953. I'm my mother's son more so than my older brother John is. Um, Josephine Elizabeth Jack Nelson um, was Queen of the World and is Queen of the World. I speak of her in the present tense because as long as I'm here, she is more so than was. Uh, she became a school teacher when she was 15 years old, and I see my function as a teacher also in the context of possibly being either the vice presidential candidate alongside Bernie Sanders or possibly Joe Biden if they do a Biden Sanders at the convention in July, which may well happen as a result of Hillary Clinton being indicted in early July and being so tainted and so weakened that she'll just have to suspend her campaign indefinitely and support Bernie Sanders' bid for president, or they might choose Joe Biden and have Bernie Sanders as his vice president running for the first term and I come in the second term.
So let me ask you this. I mean, Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden are actually pretty different. There's some overlap. But my first question is, how do you see yourself in comparison to those two candidates?
I remember a Persian Baha'i friend of mine many years ago chided me for comparing myself to Bill Clinton. He says, "Why are you comparing yourself to him?" And I was a bit taken aback because I didn't know that there was something ignoble about comparing yourself to someone else, which I perhaps effectively was doing, although that wasn't necessarily the primary